evening. How are you all? I didn't like that answer. Good evening. That's better. Thank you for letting out some steam there. There's plenty of it, right? So you are tonight, and I'm going to say this because there are people that are here tonight that did not know whose program they're attending. This is an MS Views and News educational program. We are not the National MS Society. We're not the MS Foundation, the MS Association of America, or anybody else. We are MS Views and News. Once upon a time, there are those that are out there know it as Stu's Views and MS News, but that was a very long time ago. All right, MS Views and News provides educational programs. And again, we're doing this for all of those that are out there that just need more information about multiple sclerosis. These days, we do not talk about the medications at our programs because there's just so many other aspects about multiple sclerosis to know about and to help you to build yourselves to be better and to be able to do more in life without sitting around and waiting for that cure, okay? So we do want you to learn about all these different things. Tonight's program, I want everybody to thank. We do get sponsored by the pharmaceutical industry to do our programs. And tonight, we would really like to thank Sanofi-Genzyme and Celgene. So I hope that you all thank them with me. All right. Again, MS Views and News, we do all these programs. Last year, we did 55 programs in 23 states. And this year, I wanted to cut back, but I'm stuck doing 56 programs in 52 weeks. Yes, wow, exactly. And we picked up another state. We're also going to Wisconsin this year. And we're not just doing one program. We're going to be there on October 2nd, and we're doing two. We're doing one in Madison on the 2nd and one in Green Bay on the 3rd. And it just made sense to be there. We were asked from people in Green Bay that have never had a program like ours, and they know that we had a grant to do a program in Madison, and they said, while you're here, can you get up there? And I can't say no, so I said yes. And so we're going up there to do the program. So, again, that will be awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, so others should do that. Go ahead, do it again. Thank you. Thank you very much. So tonight, I don't want to keep going because I can keep going and going and going. Tonight, and because the room is set up the way it is and because we don't have a stage, we wanted to make sure the people in the back can see what's going on up here. So our video team put this together so that way, no matter where you are in the room, you could see what's happening up here. All right, and tonight, our first speaker is Jeffrey Siegel. And for those that don't know Jeffrey Siegel, well, you just have not been watching our YouTube channel, all right? And you just have not been seeing what we're doing in the country because Jeff has been at more than 20 events of ours this year so far, okay? And we're only in July, all right? And he will be at another 20 plus before the end of the year comes. So you will be able to see Jeff tonight. You'll be able to see a lot of what he does. He may even get me up here to do something because not enough of you I can get up here to volunteer for him, but we do want you to volunteer. We do want you to experience what this is about. And I, too, I don't have to say that I don't know what it's about because Jeff trains me now also. And it's not about losing this. It's really not. It's about getting stronger. It's about getting your legs stronger. It's about getting my arms stronger to be able to do things. If I'm doing all this running around and in all these airports all the time, I cannot afford for my legs to give out on me. I have to be able to get stronger and to be able to do things. And thankfully, Jeff has done this for me. So to tell you something else about Jeff, he's been awarded the 2007 National Personal Trainer of the Year by the NSCA. And what that is, I don't know, but he will let you know. All right? So I think it's the National Strength Conditioning Award.
Close.
Close. Okay,
National Strength and Conditioning Association.
Okay, there we go. So anyway, Jeff will tell you more about himself. He is a personal trainer. After Jeff, we're going to have Lisa Cassidy come up to speak. Lisa will speak for about 30, 35 minutes. And then Dr. Gandhi will speak. And after Dr. Gandhi, we're going to do a Q&A for the two of them when they're up here. So if you have any questions for Lisa, write it down somewhere. There are pens on the table, right on the back of whatever you have, right on the back of your husband's heads or whatever you got going there. Oh, see, there he goes. There they go. All right. So anyway, just if you need somewhere to write it down, let us know. Otherwise, you know, again, I'm going to run around the room with a microphone. Sorry if I'm stuttering, but I have MS and I forget. So you're supposed to laugh. Okay, you didn't laugh. Ha ha, got it. All right. So anyway, yes, I will be running around the room later on with the microphone, getting your questions, so that way you can ask them to either Lisa or Dr. Gandhi. And Jeff is going to speak for 30 minutes and then doing Q&A. Let's get started. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. First thing I want you guys to know is this is not about me. It's about we. It's about us. I'm a patient as well. My background is exercise physiology. I just happened to fall into the realm of MS, like a lot of you have. It wasn't a choice, but I'm okay with it because here I am speaking, and I'm hoping that you guys can go home with some wisdom. You know, the first thing that I wanted to do when I was diagnosed was more. That was it. I just wanted to do more. And then now looking back, that's the answer. Do more. Do more of what? Anything. Move more. More than what? More than you did yesterday. More than you have so far today. Do what you're able to do, and then you might be able to do more. But at least you can say you've done something. Because if you look back and you haven't done anything, then you are stuck in the same place you were, and you're not going anywhere. So move. That's the key. If you can't move, then what else can't you do? You can't groove, right? You can't have a good time like the way you're thinking about it. And how many people in here have problems with fatigue? I'm definitely in the right room. But you know what? The interesting thing is, if I were to go into the next room and it was not a group of people with MS, I guarantee you just about as many people would be raising their hands. So what does that make me think? Maybe it's not just MS that's causing you fatigue. Maybe it's secondary to your MS. Maybe it's because you were diagnosed with MS and you decided you should be moving less because you have MS. For me, it was the opposite. It was move more. And when I was diagnosed 20 years ago, I was told not to exercise. And that didn't stand well with me. It didn't sit well. It was horrible. I was, I was shocked. I walked out and said, I'm going straight to the gym. And I did. And now research supports it. You know, up until 1995, there wasn't much research on exercise and MS other than don't do it. And University of Utah came out with it in 95. This past year at ECTRIMS, they had a great research came out where there's a neurotropic factor being produced by the brain from exercise for MS patients out of Hamburg. And that's big. That's neuro regeneration. I mean, that's regenerating your nerves and brain cells and that type of stuff. And it's been seen in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and now we see it in MS. We knew it, just there needed to be research to prove it. So what I'm going to do is I've got a volunteer. First, do you mind being videotaped? Do you give consent?
Yeah.
Tell if you do. Okay.
I'm fine to be videotaped.
Okay, so as you guys know, I went from table to table to see what people wanted to hear because I don't want it to be about what's on my agenda. I want it to be what you guys came here to find out. The consensus is there's a lot of dizzy people in here. Okay, that's one of the issues. So if you're dizzy, one of the things that you don't want to do is start a new modality while standing. While you're seated, it's okay. Or if you stand, don't try to work on one leg. What's going to happen? You're going to be standing on no legs. Right? So this is stability. Stability is more important than balance because if you can't do this and you try to do this, it's not going to happen. So seated, if I were to just start throwing a ball like this, it's heavy too, right?
Yes.
It's not light. It's a three-pound medicine ball. If he drops it, he's going to yell at me, but he's not going to hurt his foot. And because sometimes you can't grip things as well, doing it with two hands, using the palm, don't squeeze, or it might help your grip strength. That's key because as we age, we lose grip strength. How many people had a grandfather that used to use one of these things and it was always way too difficult for you to do as a child? Right? Everyone's nodding because that's how they used to say longevity is measured by grip strength. Well, it goes hand in hand because people that are active more, they have a stronger grip and chances are they're healthy. You got to keep health in tune. You got to make sure that everything that you're doing in life is what you want to do and you want to get out of it. So eating, if you eat, that's what you are. Whatever you put in your mouth, that's what you're working with. Fat. There's good fat, there's bad fat, but calorie-wise, a fat is a fat is a fat. It's still per gram got 9 grams, 9 calories per gram. Where protein and carbohydrates have 4. So pick your fat wisely and don't pick too much of it. I've had so many people that tell me that, well, I only use olive oil and I eat a lot of avocado. What's wrong with that? It's a lot of fat. So it's good fat, but it's still going to build up in your body and it's going to probably settle around here. So what I'm going to show you is he's seated. You guys can see that, right? This is the light one. Yes. Okay, so come on out here. I'm going to put the chairs out here.
Yep.
Can somebody else come up, please? I asked a bunch of people and everybody said no, but one of the people that didn't say no was her. Were you going to offer someone else to come up? No. Okay, come on. You can do this. Here. Put one here. Sit wherever you'd like. Have a seat. While you guys are sitting, I'm just going to let, here. Are you an MS patient?
Yes.
Okay. I would have never known. What do MS patients look like? People, right? Yeah, how many times have you heard, well, you look so good, right? That's so much better than, well, you look so bad, right? So smile and thank them. Don't say that's rude. They're trying to be nice. They don't understand that you may feel like you got a bunch of worms crawling inside of you or your brain's seeping out your ears. It really isn't. They're complimenting you. I just want you guys to throw that back and forth.
Ready?
Yep.
Believe it or not, they're getting a core workout there. Unless one of them falls out of the chair, then I'm in trouble. But in order to sit up in a chair, you need to have core strength. In order to walk, you need core strength. In order to get up out of a bed, you need core strength. So there's many ways that you can work on your core. I think it's as important to work on your core as it is anything. I'm going to make that a little bit heavier because you guys are having too much fun. Let's see.
This way.
Here, watch this. Stay there. Stay there.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you see him now? Okay. You keep moving, don't you? I could tell you keep moving back, and then I'm just kidding. See, this is an exercise in itself. Now move to the right 10 feet. Forward 9 feet. I got to get your consent to be on here. So do you give consent to be on the video?
To there?
To that, right that way.
I consent.
All right. So now throw that carefully.
This one's heavy.
Don't throw it at his head though.
I will.
That's actually, is that 3 or 4? It's 4. See, you guys see he's gotten stronger since he's been up here because he thought it was 3. So for core strength, that's good. Let me see you stand. Can you stand up out of the chair and sit down? Stand up, sit down. Okay, she's doing squats, right? Do you normally do squats?
I'm a yoga teacher.
So you do plenty of squats.
Yeah.
You probably do squats and just stay right here, right?
Yeah.
And you sit and talk to the class in that position for like an hour. I can't do that. But that's great. I picked a pro to come up here. Oh, you don't have to go soft with him. He can catch. Just don't let him catch it in his mouth. All right. All right. Now let me see that. So what they're doing is they're throwing the ball, they're rotating to throw it. You don't see the rotation, and they might not be rotating, but they're using the rotating muscles. Are you a volunteer too? Yes. Okay. I'm going to let you come on the other side of them. Do you give consent to be on this video?
Yes, I give consent.
Okay. You have to say it. Say it with meaning. Come on.
I give consent.
Okay, so this is our expert panel, our expert patient panel. Do you guys ever have any difficulties or any reasons why you do not exercise? Is there an excuse you have for not exercising? It's okay, there are reasons not to exercise.
Fatigue, balance.
Fatigue, balance. No, those are reasons to exercise. Reasons not to exercise. Do you have someone that you can exercise with? I'm not asking you. I know you're diehard. You're probably going to leave here and go do some yoga, right?
I already did it today.
And you'll probably do it again. All right. Having somebody else to exercise with is very important because of safety, as well as holding yourself accountable. But if you don't have somebody else to exercise with, you can do it on your own. And the best piece of equipment out there is what?
Your body.
Exactly.
Your body
It's
strength,
yourself.
Your weight.
Your body weight. You can do stuff by yourself just by moving around. And if you don't have anybody to exercise with, you can always bring Wilson, right? We got you guys, right? I bring Wilson around. But there's other things that you can do with this. Can I see you stand up? And that's it? No, I want you to sit and then stand again. Okay. And now I want to see you do it. You can hold on. I'm not looking for. There you go.
I can do that.
Okay. Sit all the way down.
Okay.
Now stand all the way up again. Even using your hands. It's okay. Okay. That was great. Now have a seat. So what I'm looking at is their mechanics. So if I was going to build a program for some of them, these two have a little bit of more strength in their internal rotators than their external rotators of their hips. They didn't realize it, but I noticed it because their knees kind of came a little bit together, even if it was hers just came together like maybe a centimeter and hers maybe an inch, but it still moved. So you're not one to stand up and your legs go outwards, they're going to come inwards. So I would put bands around their knees, have them stand against the resistance, help with a little bit of external rotation and abduction. Or if it was the opposite, then I'd have you do something like this, hold that between your knees. You don't have to stand up, but I'd have them stand up while holding something in between their knees. So that's doing the opposite for somebody whose legs might flare out, then they would have stronger adductors and be easier to do. So something that I also like having people do is, if you can't do something standing, I'd find something for you to do seated. With two hands, I want you to touch the cones. And come back up. Now do it again. And come back up. Now if I were to move it this way, and this one this way, I want it to be a little bit difficult. I want you to touch it with your left hand, and your right hand. So you feel your body, you're crossing over. There you go.
I don't know. Oh.
It's a contralateral reach. So that's something that you can do in a seated position. Everybody, there's exercise that you can do seated, there's exercise you can do standing, and there's someone back there raising their hand. Well, let's see. What they're doing is they're in a seated position and there's a cone in front of them and they're just reaching for it and coming back up. And by going across the body, it's contralateral. So in a seated position, if I were to do something like this, I want all of you guys, first I want you to put your hands together in front of you. Resist. Where do you feel it?
Here.
You don't feel it in your core?
Oh yeah, I do that.
Okay. This is the driver, that's what's doing the action. So you're rotating and using your rotational muscles with the absence of rotation. So if he had a bad back or something, he could do that, or he could just push it up against the wall. So now you put one hand out like this, now resist me. You feel that in your core? Mm-hmm. Now you do it with this hand,
Yep.
but you can't hold on.
No.
I'm just kidding. You feel it though?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm getting my workout. That's the whole point. Thank you guys. No, I'm just kidding. So with these exercise balls, and I'm going to show you some other things with this. You take this one, the little one. You take this one. This one's going to turn into a pancake. You get the real heavy one. Yeah, because when you're going to throw it at the ground real hard, bring your feet apart and throw it at the ground. See, I told you it's kind of like a pancake. Now pick it back up. She's doing extensions. Throw it at the ground. Just throw it and pick it back up. That felt kind of good?
Yeah. No, I like
Like, could you imagine something, like picture something right there that you don't like? You're supposed to say, I like everything, Jeff. And you can throw yours down. That's 1 pound, 3 pounds, and 8 pounds. One more time, and then we'll get away with doing this without the people downstairs getting mad. All right, here, throw that to me. Here. So I'm going to show you guys. You guys can go sit down, and thank you so much. I want everybody to give them a round of applause. The point of what I'm showing you guys is to improve function. Functional exercises is not just a fad if it's done correctly. It's to mimic the daily activities that you do, and it has to serve a purpose. That's the function. How many people, I want another reason besides balance, which I've heard a lot of, why people don't exercise. Who in here doesn't exercise and has a reason not why they don't? You get overheated? What about before you're overheated? You exercise, then you get overheated, and then you've crossed your limit. So if you get overheated, I'll give you a suggestion. Know what your limits are as far as heating up, and find something that's going to keep you cool. So that way you can get over the hump a little bit. Whether it's a cooling vest, whether it's a towel that you put a little bit of moisture on and stick it in the freezer, wrap it around your neck. Now you got some time. And right here, What's that?
They can work out in a pool.
Yeah, you can work out in a pool. One thing that I like to talk about when people do exercise in water is that you can be like the rest of the population at all times and get dehydrated from being in the pool. Because you don't think about drinking because you're in water, but you're still sweating and perspiring and you can get dehydrated. I'm going to show you some progressions of what I showed. I wanted to show it in a chair first, and I'll show it standing now. But if I had a cone and I wanted to learn how to properly reach for something without the old school way of bend your knees, and then you're here and your knees might not hold you up. Knees aren't the smartest of joints because they don't rotate, they just flex and extend. So if they do anything other than flexion and extension, it's called surgery. If they go this way or this way, they'll have to be surgically repaired. The strongest muscle in your body, do you know what it is? It's not your knee. Your knee is not a muscle, it's your glutes, your gluteus maximus. So why not use it more? You'll have more cushion to sit on too. It'll look good, people will compliment you. A glute is extension in your hips. So doing something like this, which is the same thing that I had them doing in a seated position. So now, by me doing this and someone says, well, what do I do if I can't stand? I already showed you. So now I'm going to go to another progression. This is a furniture slider. I'll show you that in a minute. But to reach for that, you can make it more difficult. So rather than doing with 2 legs, that's basically like a deadlift. That's an Olympic move, but we're going to do it the not Olympic way. If you wanted to do a step and a reach, which is like a lunge or a reaching lunge, it would be here. And if you want to add weight, you add a ball or something that's heavier, and you do that. And it looks easy, right? It's not. Ask Stuart. I have him doing it all the time. It's easy for him now. The first time he tried it, he looked at me and he said, holy, I'm not going to say it. And he's from New York, what can I tell you? But he said, you always make it look so easy when you're doing it in front of the crowds and stuff. And I said, that's because I do it every day. It's practice. How many people in here would run around and play as children outside? Right? How many people in here were not children? Because if you were a child, chances are you played. How many people that did that got tired while doing it and you remember getting too tired to play with everybody else as a child? You don't remember that, right? Because you practiced, just like I practiced doing this. You practice day in, day out. It's called conditioning. If you stop for a month, you'd get tired. But you don't stop for a month. You keep going and going and going until your parents want to pull your ears off to get you in to eat dinner, right? So speaking of which, food. Like I was telling you, with MS, theoretically, the best thing to do is have an anti-inflammatory diet. And without having MS, same thing. So what's an anti-inflammatory diet? It's eating the good stuff, the healthy stuff, the stuff with less ingredients, fruits and vegetables. Cut back, don't eat the white sugars and plain sugars. That's just going to send a messenger to say, hey, let's bring on some inflammation. Cytokines, you don't want that. There's also staying away from fatty meats, and unless it's a fish source. But at the same time, it's good to have fatty fish and cold water fish, tuna, salmon, sardines, that type of stuff because of the omega-3s. But if you have too much of it, you'll end up fat because that's fat. Same thing like I was saying about the avocados. You want to fuel yourself with the right kind of fuel to get through the day and say, you know what, if I am fatigued, it's going to be because I have MS. It's not going to be because I did everything else wrong. You do everything you possibly can so that way at the end of the day you can blame whatever's wrong on MS or something else. But with MS, if you eat a proper diet and if you were to exercise regularly and do a little bit more each time and be cognizant about the foods you eat, space your meals out, do all those types of things, then you can go to the doctor and say, hey, let's talk about my MS rather than, hey doc, I want to talk about what diabetes is doing with the meds I'm taking for my diabetes, do they interact with my MS meds? Do my meds that I'm taking for osteoporosis, how's that going to interact with my MS meds? Forget all that other stuff. You don't want comorbidities. You want to be able to spend that time with your doctor talking about MS, because that's what the doctor you're going to see knows is MS. He's not going there to treat your heart disease and the different issues that you may have. And having MS, you do end up at sometimes some people have to take the corticosteroids, right? When they're really needed, you take them. As long as that's what you're, obviously you're not going to find them on the street. Those are other steroids. But they do have side effects, and if you did experience some of the side effects, such as osteoporosis or blood sugar changes, or diabetes, those are the types of things that lifestyle can help. So what helps osteoporosis besides osteoporosis medicine? Proper diet, exercise, weight bearing. Your body responds to the imposed demands it's given. So if you put more stress on your bones and stuff by lifting heavier weights, what's it going to do? It's going to build a stronger body, including bone. So some of these, standing up out of a chair, if you think you can't do a squat but you can get out of a chair, you're fooling yourself because you just did a squat. A squat can be a baby squat, which is here, or it can be a full squat, which is all the way down. Whatever one you're able to do. Or it can be an assisted where you're holding on to something. I'm going to show you some stuff with some bands. And I want to show off what Stuart has done for himself. So come on up. And Stuart, before you come up here, I want you to look at the camera and give consent. So I'm going to let you do this. What I'm going to have him do is what you guys know to be as a bench press, but this is like a real life bench press, standing on your feet, where your kinetic chain starts at your feet, goes all the way up to your head and back down. This is how you can build your abs while doing a press with a band, without moving up and down, without getting dizzy, without all the different things that cause you problems. It can also be done in a seated position. So take this in this hand. Actually, let's do it with one hand so I can show more. And you're going to press that way. Press. Right hand, face that way.
Thank you.
And so, feet together.
Feet together.
There you go. Now press forward. You don't have to be, no, I mean, just side by side your feet. The closer your feet are together, the harder it becomes because the lever arm changes. So what he's doing.
This is easy right now. He usually puts a lot of torque into it.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt him on stage. I saved that for when we're off stage. So what he's doing, and you can stop. I'm going to show you guys what he just did. So he just worked the back of his arms, triceps. I'm not going to try. I'm more important to me than muscles are movements, because sometimes we don't use the same muscles as we would because we have to bypass them and find a new path. So he's working that. He's working his chest. He's working his abs, because if he wasn't working his abs, he would fall backwards by me pulling him. Make sense? When you're laying on your back and you're doing a bench press, you're working just your upper body. You're not working your core. You're getting ready to get somebody off of you. That's basically what's the function of it, and building muscle size. But for him, if he was to turn around, do the same thing. Let's do this, turn around. Now you can use both hands. How's your thumb doing, all right?
Right.
All right. I'd still tell you to do it, but no, I'm just kidding. Now pull. There you go. So now what he's doing is he's doing a row. You can come forward. Just do 150 reps while I'm saying this. What he's doing is he's working his upper back. He's working his biceps, but he's working his lower back for stabilization. Okay, you can stop. He's working down back here, because if he was not working his lower back, he would fall forward. The opposite of what he was doing in the other direction. So now what I want you to do is face this way and just hold your hands straight out in front of you. Okay. Where do you feel that?
My whole right side.
Yeah, so what he's doing is he's preventing himself from turning in the direction I'm pulling him by using his rotational muscles absent rotation. So he's doing a core workout. He's working out his abs. He's not changing his posture. He's not getting dizzy. Are you getting dizzy by doing that? No. And if you were, I would say count out loud. Because the biggest problem a lot of us experience is we're thinking and we're multitasking and we're telling our bodies to do this, that, and the other, and we're forgetting one key thing. What's that? Breathing. So if somebody is turning red, I know they're not breathing. What am I going to do? Count out loud. Did you ever try counting or speaking without breathing? If you can do it, we'll talk afterwards. I need to know your tricks. So that's one thing that you can do. So standing, even if you were to just do something like this, pull. Now push. So you don't even need a band. And keep doing it, keep doing it. Push. I need to get my workout in, remember? And pull. So he's working his core. This is really a core workout. His upper body's going, and he's working my core out too. All right. So let's see. The bands come in many different sizes and resistance. This is really heavy, 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 heavy. And this is really, really light. Just about anybody can use this one. Just about nobody can use this one. Yes?
I put my band in the door jamb.
Okay, that's a great thing to say because you stole my thunder. If you're alone and you don't have somebody to hold on to it, you stick this in the door jamb, close the door on it, this locks. Now you got a double-sided band that works just like how I was holding it. So it's something that you can do by yourself. There's so many things you can do. You can do curls, you can do squats, you can do, you name it. You can even do lunges, a lunge type exercise, and I'll show you what that looks like. You hold on to this, and hold it low. So if I were to just do this, I'm working my glutes and my lower back against the resistance of that. So that's one way to work that part of your body. I'm running out of time. I want to show you what these are. These are his favorites. They didn't used to be, but he likes them. This is a sandbag. It's a 4-pound sandbag. Best thing about it is, like I said with the medicine balls, if it fell on my foot, doesn't hurt. Hopefully it doesn't fall, but you can grip it with your hands. I like to warm up on in a multiplanar way because our body does move in several different directions as we're doing a workout. So I do something called chops. You want to do some chops? No? I'll show you what chops look like. He did his yesterday. Chops look like this. These can be done in a seat. I'll show you in a chair and standing. In a chair. Now imagine everything that I'm doing right now can be done in a chair. I'm going to stand up and show you so the people in the back can see, but this can be done seated. A chop looks like this. I do this direction, I do this direction. Shoulders and hips stay square the whole time, up and down. And then I go side to side. That's over a long period of time, but now what I'm doing is I'm warming up rotational, up and down, diagonal. That's how we move. We don't just move straight. If we do, we have problems, maybe even MS. I'm just kidding. So the important thing to take home with you is you can do more. You have to want it. You have to want it a little bit more, but you're able to do it. Don't wait till tomorrow, the next day, or the day after. Do what you can when you can, or you won't be able to. Right now is the time to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you decide to exercise, it's always going to be now, right? It always is now. But when you get that itch for it, you got to take control and actually do it. And the people around you will be happy. You'll be happy. You'll look in the mirror and you will see a different person. You will see a person with a smile who's accomplished something. So if I had another hour to talk, I'll tell you all that really interesting stuff. So you'll have to come back and hear me speak another time. Does anybody have any questions?
First, let's thank Jeff. So does anybody have any questions for Jeff? We're going to do this for about 10 minutes. And please wait for me to get to you with the microphone.
I just wanted to know what she's going to do with the rolling pin.
Well, that's for cooking. I didn't get to that part because nobody that I couldn't believe it, but before I started speaking, when I went from table to table, I didn't get much of anybody asking me about spasticity. You get muscle spasms and cramps. A rolling pin. You ever think about that? They sell them really, really expensive on fitness sites, or you can go get a $2 one at Walmart. I'm going to get in trouble because the people that have these sites that they sell all this stuff on, I know them, and they're going to say, why are you killing us? But it can all be done a little bit less expensive. Same thing with these sliders. You get for $7, $8, you can get 4 of them at Walmart. And somebody asked me about on an airplane, or when you're just seated for a long time, what can you do? Not when you're in a car driving, but you want to know how you can move your legs around a little bit. If you can't see me in the back, you can see me on there. Right? And now in an airplane, it would look more like this. Because as we get bigger, the seats get smaller, right? But they really do get smaller, because I'm telling you, I've been getting smaller and the seats are still getting smaller. So that's something that you can do. And I'm hoping I covered most of the stuff that people had asked me beforehand. We have another question over here. Wait for the microphone.
When working with weights,
Yes.
how do you know how heavy to go?
Well, you'll know if you pick up one that's too heavy. Okay, the rep range. Here's the science side of it. You want to build muscle, you want to stay in the rep range between 8 and 12 reps to failure. That means the last rep is the last rep. That's for conditioning and for building muscle size. Between the reps of 4 and 8, that's power, that's strength, that's absolute strength, and power is 1 to 3 reps. You shouldn't be doing that type of stuff. 1 to 3 reps means that you're doing as much weight as you possibly can, no more than 3 times. That means the 3rd time you either couldn't complete it or you failed. But the interesting thing is, heavy weight doesn't mean that you're going to get big and bulky. If that was the case, talk to a bodybuilder who busts their tail day in, day out to put 1 pound on. It's a misconception. So don't worry about getting too big. If you think you're getting too big, it's up here. You're gaining wisdom.
Thank you.
I have a question for Jeff. What's better, mornings or afternoons or evenings to do this?
Yes. It depends on the person, but it's when you know what you should do, right? You should be moving around a little bit more. You know what you can do, and you know what you're able to do, but you have to be willing to do it for it to work. So the time that you're willing to do it is the best time. There's some people are morning people, some people are night people, some people are all day people. So don't overdo it if you're an all day person. How often? Well, the recommended dose of exercise for cardiovascular or aerobic conditioning is 3 to 4 times a week, and for resistance is 2 to 3 times a week for people with MS. And the temperatures for indoor exercise should be between 66 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you don't have MS, it's up to 74 degrees. But that 4 degrees really makes a difference.
I remember in high school that you needed to, when we did weight training and stuff, that you needed to rotate different things. But I have no clue. I don't remember like rotation and stuff. Do you
mean
have
like rotating, like the type of movements you're doing?
And the areas.
Okay. The golden rule is so you don't get an imbalance in your muscles. For any push exercise you do, there should be a pull, which doesn't have to be done that day, but before you do another pushing exercise. So if you're doing presses today, then the next time you work out, you should be doing pulls. And you can incorporate legs into that. So what I really like to do is if you're doing legs and you're getting tired from doing legs and your legs aren't working the way they were when you first started working with them, stop doing legs, go to upper body. Your legs are going to get, some energy back. The nerve is going to get the message to the end and come back better with rest. And you can rest while you're working your upper body. That's also shunting your blood to your upper body and lower body and can constitute cardiovascular exercise if you do that for over 20 minutes.
This is kind of an old school question. Leg weights, do you recommend them?
Like on your ankles?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No.
I don't recommend those.
Okay.
We as a population with MS, if you have issues with your legs, we're already walking through mud. We don't need any help from the outside. And that's an open chain exercise, so it can cause some issues. A lot of people who've used ankle weights over time have had problems with their Achilles tendon. So I don't really think it's a great idea, unless you're doing something in one area, but not to mobilize with.
If you're like standing in line in the grocery store or something like that, and you just kind of squeeze your leg muscles or your glutes or your arms, is that really doing anything?
It's doing 100% more contraction with that muscle than you would have been doing if you weren't doing it. So yeah, if it's something that's going to make you too tired to get through the line, don't do it. But if you can do that, that's fine. If you don't mind being looked at like you're crazy, do squats while you're in line. But move more. It's part of movement. Even just contracting muscles. If you mean like squeezing your legs, relaxing, squeezing.
Yeah, like my doctor always says, like do Kegels or do that.
Yes, that's fine. That's
so if you're
fine.
doing like the squeezing things like that, either in the cart or with your legs or something like that, you're still getting a benefit.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yep. But the first thing I said was move more. And I stand true to that. Move more. Anything you do more is more, and we want more, right? We want to be able to do more, and we're not going to be able to do more without doing a little bit more than we normally do.
One doctor of mine said, you're doing too much when it's painful, and otherwise I've heard go through the pain, keep on going through the pain.
I understand the old school thought is no pain, no gain. New school thought is with pain, no brain. I mean, that's the truth of it. So there's different types of pain that you experience when you're exercising. If it's pain and it's joint pain, or if it's some kind of other pain that's not in the area that you're working, no, we don't want that. But if you're feeling pain in the muscle, that's called muscle fatigue. You get to that point, that's how you make gains. If you feel pain the next day after doing some kind of exercise when it's muscle weight training, that's your body's way of saying, relax, step back, let it heal. That's called delayed onset muscle soreness, and that does happen, and the only thing that you can do to make that go away is move. You want to move more. So, but if you're,
I was speaking, I like walking. After a few steps, I can't almost walk anymore.
Then stop and take a break. I don't care if it's taking 5 steps and then your legs are too tired to go. If you don't stop and take a break, you're going to stay there the rest of your life. So take a break, then try a few more steps. If you go to the mailbox and you can only make it halfway, go halfway and stop and take a break. If you can go a little bit further, do it further. But your goal is to get further than you did yesterday.
Since we mentioned walking, Jeff, how about a lot of us use canes?
Yes.
Can you use your cane as part of your walking exercise?
If you have a cane and you want to do exercise and not use your cane, you're crazy. Because you have a cane so you can do, not so you can't. And if you want it to be safe, which is the #1 most important thing to do when you're exercising is safety, and you're walking with a cane, it's okay to have your cane with you.
I have a question. When I'm working out with weights or bands, I'll get like electrical shock, like in my shoulders.
There's a lot of things that can cause that. But exercise form is key. A lot of times I see people in gyms, which I don't go to the gym. I work out at home and with my clients. But when I see people that don't have MS and I see them doing something like a lat pull down and I see them struggling, and first thing is they'll put it behind their neck. No, never do that. And then when they put it behind their neck, what do they have to do? Now when you do this, doesn't that remind you of a neurological exam? Touch your chin to your chest. What are they looking for? They're looking for shocking pains in your arms. So you may have lesions in your cervical spine that cause Lhermittes. That could be a problem. Or you could be doing something that's causing that shock. I'm not the one to solve that puzzle. That's your neurologist's job. But tell your neurologist that you're getting that and identify what position your body is in when it happens, and you might be able to get around it.
Last question is right here.
How long should a workout session be?
When I work with people, I go an hour, and I'm not doing I don't mean like the first 15, 20 minutes is riding a bike, and then the next, and then you rest 5 minutes. The rest that I give people, if someone's going to rest, if they can stand with your feet touching each other. Rest that way. So now you're working stability, because now you'll be all over the place, but you're still getting a rest in your body. But you can go on for an hour, but that does not mean to start out an exercise program for an hour. It's progressive. You start out here, and work your way up to here, to here, to here. If you ever have a setback, it's okay. The one thing that I don't want you guys to do if you're starting an exercise program, I don't want you going to the gym and doing what you did the last time you were at the gym. Because if you do, you're going to fail. And you're forgetting how much hard work you put in to get to where you were at your best, and that's what you're thinking you're going back to, and you're not. Because you haven't in a while. Not because of MS necessarily, but because of lack of doing. So progressively work your way up. If you start to feel like a little baby symptom or something, then you know that that's your stopping point. So everybody's a little bit different. You got to kind of feel your way around it, but in a safe way. Like, you know, you don't start your house at the top, you start it at the bottom when you're building it. But you're welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.